As of the 1st of April this year, if a CBD product has not been submitted on a novel foods application, it means that you will no longer have legal access to it. So I'm going to be joined today by David Ralson from British Cannabis, and we're going to be answering the questions of what exactly is the novel foods application, how it's going to affect you as a consumer and us in the industry. We're also going to discuss the new Home Office rulings around THC content in CBD products. And I'll be letting you know which products are still going to be available after the 1st of April and which may not be available. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some information so that you can contact your local MP to let them know that you use CBD products and that you find them beneficial for your health. So, let's get into the video. Hi David, thanks for joining us today. You are the Sales Director for British Cannabis, who are the longest standing manufacturers of CBD in the UK. You have your own brand of Cannabidol, and you also manufacture CBD for over 150 other retailers in the UK. So just tell me, David, what exactly is the novel foods legislation? What's going on with it?
It's a food that wasn't consumed within the European Union prior to May 1997, or there's no evidence of it being consumed in any great quantity. So we've look, I've been in this industry 2.5 years now, and there's been changes all the time, and it's always been, novel foods has always been in the background. Is it novel, is it not? An Article 10 is where you submit for a novel food application, and an Article 4 is where you try and challenge it to suggest that the products aren't novel. Now, the industry for many years went down the route of the Article 4, where we were suggesting that this has been around for 10,000 years. There's lots of evidence around to show that humans were consuming cannabis in various ways, but it all came down really to the fact that it was pointless fighting it anymore, and especially when they changed the novel foods catalogue back in, I think it was January 2019. Where they had a separate category under cannabis, which was for extracts and cannabinoids. So we then sort of faced a year of deciding really what to do as an industry. The novel foods catalogue was set out, and it meant that any extracts from the plant, obviously hemp, sativa, L, were going to be novel. So this went into force on February the 13th. 2020, when the EFSA at the time, so obviously we've left Europe now, but the EFSA said that any products that were on the market that were novel were no longer legal to be sold, and that the only way for them to be legally sold would be to have an authorised novel food application. So the UK FSA said on the 13th of February that you have a year to apply for novel foods application, and you would need validation by the 31st of March in order to continue to sell your products within the UK under what they considered like an exemption. And this was because that it would take a lot longer for them to actually authorise the novel foods applications, but they didn't want to close the industry down, because with most novel foods, what happens is they're not actually legally allowed to be sold on the market until the safety data and the evidence is there to show they are safe for human consumption. But of course, our industry has been going now in the UK for 5 or 6 years. So we've kind of had this olive branch given to us as an industry back in February last year to say, look, if you get all the evidence together and you get an application in and it's validated by the 31st of March, you can continue to sell your products and manufacture your products.
So basically then what you're saying is that anybody that's selling CBD has to be on a novel foods application by the 31st of March, and if their product isn't on the application, then they're no longer allowed to sell it after the 1st of April.
There's now this kind of going to be these lists. So there'll be the list of people that have applied for an application that, although not validated, they can continue to sell. There'll then be a list of validated applications where, okay, that's great. We've jumped the first hurdle, and of course we can continue to sell when we actually have a validation letter. And then there'll be, I don't know if there's going to be a list, but there potentially is going to be the people that were declined. Whether they'll publish a list of declined, I don't know. but it will soon be clear once we go through this process that if you're not on this validated list, you were declined.
So the Food Safety Authority, obviously as a retailer and you as manufacturers and the industry as a whole, we do want to provide products that are safe for consumers to use. Right from the start, this is why I supplied Cannabis Oils and my other suppliers, because they were very transparent with how they made the products. They were all tested at a third-party laboratory. They had the labelling requirements on products so that people understood how many milligrams were in the bottle and how many milligrams per serving they were taking. And this is what is important, because obviously, we do as an industry want it to be a safe industry and want people, consumers to be protected. However, one of the other pretty difficult scenarios is that the Home Office now, so the Food Safety Authority are one part, but then we've got the Home Office who are now stipulating that they don't want any trace amounts of THC in any products whatsoever. And I know that that's going to come into force in the next 6 months or so, but that means then that full spectrum products, it just means that the range of products that we're allowed to sell and the way that they're manufactured is gonna be quite different, really.
Now, in terms of the sort of controlled drugs, you come into another government department, which is the Home Office, of course. So this is the Misuse of Drugs Act, and cannabis can contain, trace amounts, the hemp anyway, variety of THC, Delta 9, which is the main one. You've got other variants of THC, and of course CBN. So there's always been this 1 milligram rule, and 1 milligram rule has always been there. And it means that if you have a sealed container, you're not allowed any more than 1 milligram of a controlled substance within that container, which makes it challenging, because with a very small 10 ml bottle, it's quite easy to get it below 1 milligram and detect for it, which would be 0.01%. But as soon as you go to a 30 ml bottle, of course, the detection levels for 1 milligram become 0.0001%. And of course, if you're transporting bulk extracts and things like that, of course, you're going to have more than 1 milligram of THC in there, because it's distributed in a kilo or 5 kilos. So there are challenges around that. Now, I don't think it helped recently when a letter went out to the government from Kit Malthouse, and basically wanting them to relook at this issue around controlled drugs and the scheduling. And it was sort of reinforced that they should be quantifying down to 0.01 and 0.0001% for controlled drugs within CBD products or cannabis extracts for food supplements. So I guess it wasn't kind of where we wanted it to go. What's been good is the ACI, which is the Association for the Cannabinoid Industry, one of the associations within the UK, is actually putting in a document to challenge that with surveys and data to suggest that actually it should be up to 0.03% within food supplements, and 0.03 to 0.2 for over-the-counter medicine, so that we can start to really open up the market and open up the products that are available. And of course, the efficacy of these products changes as soon as you have, a level of THC. It does affect the body in different ways and can help different ailments. So, it's separate to novel foods. The novel foods regulations and the testing will mean that they will only allow certain types of product. We don't know what yet. We assume it's going to be isolate-based products only. So what I mean by that is CBD will probably be the only allowed cannabinoid within products. Obviously, terpenes, flavonoids, all of those things aren't novel. You can still have those in there. Hemp seed oil isn't novel. MCT isn't novel. So I think there'll be variations of products allowed, but probably with only CBD as an isolated molecule within that product. The other cannabinoids, CBG, CBC, as far as I know, no one's done toxicology on those. So if you're looking at a more broader or fuller spectrum of products, I don't think you're going to see those yet. And of course, THC is another cannabinoid. They certainly won't allow products on the market with any THC, and so the FSA will control that. But essentially, it's the Home Office that control the legislation around the misuse of drugs. So until they change their stance on it, and until we can prove safety, we're still going to be having issues with with controlled drugs and even very, very trace elements now in products.
Yeah, and it's difficult because obviously I think there's 6 million people that use CBD in the UK now, which is a tenth of the nation. Especially in this pandemic, I think probably sales have increased because people have found it to be a supplement that has benefited their lives. So I know that some studies have shown that, if you were to take a full spectrum or a really good broad spectrum, if you were taking 10 milligrams a day, if you were to take an isolate based product, you would maybe need to have 50 milligrams a day. So it feels a little bit like, although, we're getting the safety element on, which is what we want, they're forcing us to sort of have a bit of an inferior product.
Absolutely. I mean, look, everyone knows about the entourage effect. There's been studies, going back to, the early 90s about the entourage effect. The studies that done at the Israeli university. It is more effective as a whole plant. There's no doubt about that.
Just let us know then, from the cannabidol range, obviously, you'll have products that have been added to the application that will be allowed to be sold, and then you'll have products maybe that you're going to have to discontinue. So which products are going to be are on the novel foods application that you're hoping will get passed?
Yep, so the cannabidol range won't change. You've got 250, 500, 1,000, and there's a 2,000 coming out as well, which has also been put forward. And then we're actually bringing out a limited edition, which is in a 30ml bottle, that is also going through novel foods application as well. We've got our capsules, which are available, which are the 10 and 30ml CBD capsules. And we, of course, cosmetics and vape fall outside all of this anyway. So we do have a vape and cosmetic cream that's still going to be for sale.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm making this video because I really just don't want people to panic. I don't want, because obviously my viewers and my customers, they've come to really enjoy using CBD, and to feel that they're not going to be able to access it, they do worry a little bit. So this is why I wanted to make this video, and why I've delayed it, because it's been changing every single day. It seems to change, doesn't it?
Mm.
Okay, David, well, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to seeing all your products on my website very shortly.
Thank you very much.
So as David explained there, we've got two entities here. We've got the Food Safety Authority, who are wanting to make the industry safe for consumers to use CBD, which, we all do support that. But then we've got the Home Office, who are stipulating that THC is a controlled substance. It's regulated under the Misuse of Drugs Act, and they're saying that in the next 6 months, they're going to enforce there to be no THC whatsoever in a product. So once that comes into effect, then it means that full spectrum products will no longer be available. As we've already discussed, a whole plant product is a lot more beneficial and a lot more effective than just taking a CBD isolated on its own. If you want to understand more about full spectrum, broad spectrum, narrow spectrum, and the differences with those, you can watch this video here. Now, as of today, obviously this is changing all of the time, but as of today, these are the products that will still be available on the 1st of April. I'm really excited to announce that since making this video, which was only a couple of days ago, we now have our full spectrum range on a novel foods application. Our supplier, CBD Life, are part of a consortium who have spent over £2 million to start a toxicology test to prove that trace amounts of THC in CBD products is safe for human consumption. The Food Safety Authority have accepted this application. This means that we can keep selling full spectrum CBD products. It also means that we can show the Home Office that it is safe and push for a change in legislation. Full spectrum and broad spectrum CBD products make a positive difference to people's lives, mine included. So please feel assured that the industry is doing everything that we can to make sure that you have access to high quality CBD products that benefit your well-being. These are uncertain times in the CBD industry, and I personally use CBD. I know that all of my customers who benefit from using CBD as well, especially full spectrum, we want to keep these products available and have legal access to it. So if you do want to keep using full spectrum products, then I do urge you to contact your local MP. There is an email template in the description box below. All you need to do is copy and paste that letter, and then the link underneath it you can click on that link and you can find the details for your local MP. They will have an email address, and just send them an email to let them know that you use full spectrum CBD products and you find them beneficial. And let's see if together we can make a difference and educate the Home Office to let them know that these products are safe to use and they are benefiting our health. Now, my next video is going to be about how to get a prescription for medical cannabis. This is high THC cannabis that you can now get privately prescribed in the UK. So it is a little bit strange, because the Home Office are saying that you know, we're not allowed any trace amounts of THC in a product, but we do have clinics now that are prescribing medical cannabis for certain ailments and conditions. So if you would like to learn more about how you can actually get legal access to high THC medical cannabis, then stay tuned, because this video here will tell you how to do that. So thank you for watching.